That no meteor, that's a hellacious rock. Hey, welcome back. It's Lapis Anus here with a beer review from Shorts Brewing. We have Hellacious Rock. This is an American Indian Pale Ale, and I've already disturbed the yeast sediment on the bottom. So they're probably, looks like they have a very low flocculent rated. Is it barely? I mean, I'm barely moving it, and it's disturbing like crazy. So we'll see how the pour goes, and if we get some in the pour, who cares? It's almost like it's a home brew. Now I tend to use yeast that fall out and stay out a little bit better, but my goodness, this thing could potentially be very cloudy, and there's a lot there. So it tells me it's bottle conditioned. Oh my goodness, it's grass right on the nose. So it's probably different than their other double IPA, which was mostly Huma hops, Huma something. Yeah, I can see the yeast strains already coming. I'm gonna keep pouring them out, even though I had a very clear pour until then. Yeah, oh my goodness, citrusy too. Oh wow. So American IPAs tend to have two styles. There's a northeast and a northwest. One is piney and the other one is fruity or citrusy, and I don't remember which is which, and I don't care. But remind me in the comments below. I do need to do those two styles as a home brewer so I can really understand them. Oh, that is very nice. It's got a mild, for a double, it's very mild. It's a very mild hop profile. 70 IBUs, 8.7% alcohol. It's got a bit of a hop bite to it. So the malt backbone isn't quite balanced. So I'm guessing because it's 8.7, if it was say 9.5, there's a good chance that the malt backbone would be a little higher. But it's bottle conditioned, which is great. Now it's because of the way I poured it, I had it clear, but I let the yeast in. If I would let the yeast is starting to fall, it's all over the place. So they used a low flocculent yeast on purpose, so I'm expecting the yeast to be part of the experience. Because there's a lot in there. I mean, there's enough yeast in there that I could probably use that as a starter. Put that in some malt and just pour it better than I did. Don't disturb the yeast, and then dump that into a yeast starter. But overall, it's pretty good of the American Pale Ale IPA style, but I find it a little unbalanced. Their other double I like better. See my review wherever it is, because I don't know what order I post these in. But the finish is not clean. The finish is it's bitter from the hops, but it's an unsettling bitterness. It doesn't have a balance, and it's a hot bite, but it doesn't really work for me. Some of these beers are really high in hops, and they have a nice hoppy finish. It's a good bitterness. This is almost like a slightly off. So we have a low flocculent yeast. We have a little unbalancing mid-mouth. On the low flocculent yeast, I won't count against them, but we have good head retention. We have bottle condition. That's a plus. But this almost feels like it wants to be a draft beer, but they bottled it so they get wider distribution, and as a result, it kind of loses some luster there. I mean, the coloring is very nice, kind of a peachy color. Has hints of citrus on the nose. I get kind of like an orange, a little bit, maybe a tiny bit of trace of lemon. This is definitely one that's going to get better as it warms up. But those unbalancing characteristics, this is like a 4.25 beer for me. Man, it's so close to being a 4.5, but I'm going to go with a 4. It's like it almost is there, but not quite. If this was my beer, I would be picky and I would be changing some stuff, and that's why I don't give it a 5 or a 4.5. It's close, but it's like, it just swerves. It's like it goes right at the target and just swerves off. But it's not a bad beer. Don't get me wrong. This is not a 2 or a 1.5. I'm not pouring this puppy out. But it's definitely like a solid 4. So I'm going to check into Untapped. Give it a solid 4. But my goodness. That is an interesting beer. And some of the bitterness is almost from I don't know, when I say grapefruit, it's almost like a citrusy bitterness too, which is very interesting. But I'd love to know what hops they used. and what yeast, because they don't say on the bottle. Maybe I can go on the website. There's no alcohol warming, no alcohol in the nose. That's all good. Pairing this beer, you know, for a double IPA, this drink's light enough that I would have something with it, and I would do something spicy. So any you know, Indian food, Mexican, anything kind of hot and spicy. You know, not particular. So I mean, you can have any that's going to have a nice heat from capsaicin. So your hot peppers and stuff like that. But because it's going to counteract that bitterness on the back end, and it's going to mellow that out real nice. I wouldn't have anything sweet with it, and I wouldn't do anything necessarily real meaty, you know, like sausages and stuff like that. It's gonna throw the tongue off. I mean, you could try, but there's not enough carbonation to kind of clean that off. And it's not really a beer you're going to have by itself. You're going to have this with something, because it doesn't have that profile of just finishing it and just having it to enjoy the evening. That bitterness is just a little too unbalancing for that. So that's why it's a 4. So there you go. There's my Hellacious Rock review, and so I give it a solid 4. So what do you think of that? What do you think of the pairings? Have you tried this with other foods? You got a better idea? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sharing, and we will see you next time. Bye. He's the Buskus, he's the Toby Uskis. He is a pessimist. He is a goofy dog. He can be good if he wants. And he'll get cheese in 6 minutes if he sits down and stops making noise. Hellacious Rock, I think. Where the jolly church is this thing? You gotta be kidding me. I don't have the card space for this. Untapped, your scanner don't work worth a crap. Hellacious, there we go. Hellacious Rock, 8.7%. Man, they are big on the doubles and triple IPAs. This is another IPA. American, double American. That one's a double American. Good grief.